Hey, the purpose of this really short video is to talk about effective discipline, which I hope will be of use to discussion forum moderators and people who train them. First of all, why do we need effective discipline on discussion forums? Well, each owner of a discussion forum has a vision of what that discussion forum should be. And for the sake of retaining people and having productive discussion, rules often have to be enforced. And some people get out of line, so there has to be discipline. But there can be results of ineffective discipline that I have observed over many years of participating in discussion forums. One, at the worst case, is forum implosion. I've seen 2 forums implode, meaning that people have quit en masse because the leadership has not imposed discipline effectively, either too harshly or not harshly enough, or with favoritism. It can also just lead to a loss of reputation where the site continues, but then disgruntled people go onto other sites. Sometimes they even form their own in competition with the one that they had difficulty with. And then at a minimum, member disengagement, where people just stop posting or they deregister their accounts. You want to have a thriving forum, and that means trying to impose discipline while also retaining membership at the same time. And so the reason I put this together is that there appears to be a need for guidance in this area. I have worked with volunteers, and many moderators are, in fact, volunteers on many sites. And I have noticed that they do need training. Many times, the people running the sites don't have formal training and discipline either. And so that area is not well looked after. And I've seen many mistakes made to members of forums, and many inappropriate posts from some people go unchecked and continue on to perpetuity. So that's why we need effective discipline. So the first principle is soft methods first. Here's the quartet of progressive discipline. Start at the top and work down to the bottom in all but the most extreme situations. Well, first is to counsel. Often people don't know that they've made a mistake, or maybe they haven't read the rules in a while. So to just send an email indicating that what they said isn't appropriate and that if it continues, then it may lead to a warning is usually enough. And expressed with kindness and the fact that the person's other contributions have been highly valued can be something that will curtail bad behavior while maintaining a relationship at the same time. Then after that, a formal warning, perhaps a suspension if that warning is ignored, and then a banning or termination if the suspension, after the suspension is listed, the person continues with the behavior they've been warned about. A common mistake I've noticed is for moderators to go straight to punitive measures. This can mean going straight to a warning without giving any counsel first. It can mean going straight to banning without giving any counsel first. Those things have happened in many situations on the web, and they represent, in my view, an abuse of power, and they don't further the goal of maintaining discipline while also retaining the relationship with the member of the forum who's not in compliance. So soft methods should be used first, and you'd be surprised the times people aren't aware that they have made a mistake, and counseling can be your best line of discipline in that case first. The other 4 principles are alignment, a distinct voice, impartiality, and kindness. By alignment, we mean that the discipline is aligned with well-communicated forum rules. When discipline is imposed on rules that were never stated and that the person couldn't reasonably be expected to have known about, then that represents an arbitrary abuse of power and should be avoided. Now, over time, you may end up refining your rules to include behavior that you previously weren't aware of as being problematic, and that's fair. But people should be warned. And even if the rule doesn't exist, counseling them to avoid whatever they're doing that isn't pleasing to the moderators from an informal counseling perspective can curtail that behavior so that it can then be put into the rules and other people can be disciplined with fairness because those rules are previously communicated. Second, moderators should indicate when they are speaking as moderators or general forum participants. This is what I mean by a distinct voice. It's very easy to misconstrue what a moderator is saying as discipline when they're just giving their opinion. And there's one site that has extremely excellent moderation where all of the moderators are trained. If they are speaking as a moderator, their statement is in square brackets with the words admin note, : and then a statement of whatever it is they're they're commenting to the forum about, whether it be guidance to keep the discussion within certain boundaries or not to discuss something or to close the thread, etc. However, it's very clear when they're speaking as moderators, and when there's no such admin note, then it means they are speaking as individuals with just an opinion. And this can do a lot to prevent people confusing moderators' comments as a use of power when it is simply an opinion. Third, moderators should be impartial. I have seen this many times where in certain sites where there's a well-established old guard of people who have a relationship with the moderators, or maybe even been moderators themselves at one time, they can make many caustic comments, particularly to new members, that go uncensored by the moderators. Meanwhile, new people are heavily disciplined. Sometimes moderators will, you know, discipline somebody for an opinion perhaps that they shouldn't have given, and then go and further the counter side of that opinion in another forum and in another discussion area within that forum. So they need to be impartial, and that sometimes means discussion goes on about items that you may not agree with, but you remain impartial provided that discussion stays within reasonable boundaries. Last of all, disciplined members should be handled with care. I have also seen situations where it's been very clear that someone has been disciplined. Uh, and that's sometimes a mistake of moderators as well, is that when someone's been disciplined, rarely would you ever go tell the rest of the forum that that has happened, further embarrassing the person. Taken with going straight to punitive measures rather than counseling, that can be the death knell of that person's participation on the forum when their intentions were nothing but good. So when someone has been disciplined, that's a time for a moderator to like a post that they make subsequently that shows that they are obeying the rules. It is something that will help preserve the relationship between the moderator and the person who has just been disciplined. Showing an increase in kindness afterwards can show the person that you were really not, as a moderator, out to be their enemy. You were simply enforcing rules and that you want their continued participation. I want to end with a statement, and that is: leadership is the process of turning vision into sustained reality through the wise use of power. And we've seen many leaders abuse power in the past, and unfortunately I've seen that as alive and well on certain discussion forums where people haven't received the benefit of this type of training. So just to kind of wrap up, this is what I would like the takeaways to be. And number one is use soft methods first through the council warn, suspend, terminate quartet of progressive discipline. Don't immediately go to punitive measures if you haven't tried the softer methods first. Align your discipline with forum rules. Update your rules as new behaviors become evident so that people feel warned and fairly treated when they are disciplined. Make sure your voice is distinct as a moderator, is distinct from your voice as a participant of the forum. Be impartial. Don't favor members of your forum who engage in a questionable behavior without also censoring them, just like you do new members. And last of all, show an increase in kindness towards people you have just disciplined by liking their posts, etc. Because remember, the objective here is to impose discipline while preserving the engagement of the members of your forum at the same time. Thanks.